I'm Steve Thompson for On the Spot. We're here in Washington, D.C. after the FEMA conference. And we're talking to Brother Rudy and the summary of his impressions of the conference and its effectiveness. Rudy, what do you think? Your summary of the FEMA conference?
Well, I think it was good that this many black people came together
Right.
with such a wide array of skills and technical knowledge.
Right.
But I think we still miss the mark as a whole because we still seem to be waiting for some savior on a white horse to ride into our neighborhoods and save us from the boogeyman.
Right.
I don't know what it's going to take. Me, myself, and my constituents, we are all of the same mind that we really don't need anyone to come in to save us. We can do it ourselves. We need resources.
Right. But you're proactive on what you need to do.
Oh, yes. Yeah, without a doubt. Okay. But I think that we can and we have the ability, and we will,
Right.
make the best of this situation in that those of like mind, we will pull away from this and we will organize ourselves to do what we need to do for ourselves.
Right.
And unfortunately, the others will be on the sideline watching.
Okay.
As usual.
As usual. All right. Brother Rudy, summary. The FEMA conference. Thanks a lot, sir.
Thank you.
All right. Steve Thompson, we're here with Brother Eitan. Brother Eitan, your impressions of the African American FEMA conference. Where's your perspective on it?
Well, I think it was a good conference. I think that it was great that that we came together in that in that place to try to develop something. Although in this case, I think it's unusual because I have a different position on what usually you'd think that the government would be the foil in that respect. I think in this case, a lot of us came there with I suppose a preconceived notion that maybe FEMA is supposed to do a lot more for our community than it should, or than it was what they think it's supposed to do.
Right.
And in actuality, we were the ones who were a little bit off balance because we were looking to FEMA to kind of like do the things for us that we can do for ourselves.
Right.
And I think that we have to recognize that protecting ourselves is primarily our own responsibility. It doesn't belong to somebody else. And we've got to recognize that we have to do for self at this point. And FEMA was very clear on where they are and what their position is and how they're going to help us out and what they can do and what they can't. And a lot of us down there kind of are still in that position where it's, what can they do for us? So in the respect that I'm glad that there's an open dialogue that is different than what happened with the unfortunate situation in Katrina with Michael Brown and, you're doing a good job, Brownie kind of a thing. Mm-hmm. I think that the director, Fugate, is a really good guy. Mm-hmm. I think that he's got boots on the ground experience. I think that because he was an EMT and a paramedic and a firefighter, that he's got a lot of practical experience that he's applying towards his job. But on the other hand, I think that it's up to us to really kind of like get rid of these preconceived notions as to what FEMA is and what it's supposed to do, and for us to recognize what we got to start doing for self right now, because another disaster is on the way, and if we don't get ourselves together soon, we're not going to be ready to deal with it.
Okay. Thanks for your impression, sir.
Thanks a lot.
All right. Steve Thompson here. We're talking about the impressions of the African American FEMA conference. I'm here with Brother Barry. Brother Barry, tell us your impressions of the conference and the effect that you think it had or didn't have.
In summation, I want to start like this. The team that came down, myself, Brother Rudolph Muhammad from the Bedford-Stuyvesant Volunteer Ambulance Corps, and Brother Eitan Edwards from the International Preparedness Network, we've been working together, and collectively we have about 80 plus years of experience in preparedness on one level or another. My area primarily at this point in my life is focusing on the whole agricultural and land tenure issues.
Right.
A landless people is a helpless people. And no matter how many command centers or incident command centers that we want to build, and you got to put them somewhere.
Right.
Preparedness goes far beyond having some batteries and a flashlight. You know, one of the things that I wanted to ask the folks at the conference today was, you know, how much land do you have?
Right.
You know, has anyone even thought of pre-arrangements with their funeral directors just to purchase their cemetery plots?
Right.
You know, so those are the questions that I put out there to folks to let the light bulb go off, if you will.
Gotcha.
You know,
No short-term thinking.
no, no, not at all,
Right.
not at all. So, like I said, we all work in our areas of expertise. There's some mechanisms that are already in place that Brother Eitan has instituted, and has brought myself and Brother Rudolph in on, as well as we have a large backing of potential supporters, if you will. After this conference, we are now going to implement them full force.
Okay.
We're going to build incident command centers. 2 of them will be in New York. Those will be the first 2. And then we'll implement them as we joint venture with other organizations and individuals, for that matter, that were at this conference, and others. FEMA made it very clear on day 1 that they are a support organization to municipalities. There are many folks that have come down here that thought that they can partner, if you will, and I kept hearing that word, partner with FEMA. That's not going to happen. Not at this point in time. The protocol is not set up that way right now. It may happen in the future, but in the meantime, things are going to happen. There are going to be more Princeville's. There are going to be more Ritas, and all these other disasters that we're going to need to be able to deal with. And once again, if you notice, I started off by saying, about land tenure issues.
Right.
See, disasters are you have to put them in perspective, and disasters are relative.
Right.
Your disaster might not be my disaster.
True.
Because I've put things in place where whatever affects you in a negative way, it rolls right off of my back.
Right.
And so that's how we need to prepare our communities.
Right.
Let this truck go by. So we've come down here to Washington, D.C., and we listened and we spoke. We've been doing all along, but now we're going to do it with the people that were here that want to do it with us.
Right.
That came to this conference.
And essentially wait for no one.
Oh no, we haven't been waiting at all. Actually, I mean, the Bedford-Stuyvesant Volunteer Ambulance Corps just had their 25th, I believe it was, or either 24th anniversary.
Right.
Like I said, Brother Eitan with the IPN, International Preparedness Network, has been doing this for a long time. And I'm here once again representing the Black Farmers and Agriculturalists Association, headquartered in Tillery, North Carolina.
Right.
To bring another dynamic
Right.
to it. Preparedness is multifaceted.
Right.
So, we got to get the land. We got to grow our own food.
Right.
And that's what I do, and we do it well.
Okay.
Been trained by some of the best minds. I sit at the feet of and under the wings of many, many good agriculturalists. And they're just showing me the way, and it's just time to show others, young and old.
Okay. Well, I appreciate the insight. And
Yes, sir.
you know what? We've taken a lot away from the conference, and these are some amazing brothers that really, really have a plan. And they're not really waiting for anybody. So Stephen Thompson for On the Spot in Washington, D.C. from the FEMA conference, the African American FEMA conference.